Hi guys, these are our objectives for Chapter 10, Section 3. I'm going to be doing the vodcast for a little while, so just bear with me. Alright, Puerto Rico. So following the Spanish-American War, the United States military continued to govern Puerto Rico until Congress had really had time to decide how they wanted to move and what they wanted to do. Okay, it's very important strategically, both for maintaining our presence in the Caribbean and for protecting a future canal, which we will talk more in detail about next section. The body of Puerto Rican Congress was made up of their citizens, and for a long time, their governor was chosen by the United States President. Right, moving on. When American forces had initially moved into Cuba, the rebels really welcomed them. They hoped for an amendment guaranteeing their freedom. Like Puerto Rico, Cuba was independent but still occupied by United States soldiers following the Spanish-American War. They cultivated farmland, they organized elementary schools, there was an extreme amount of mosquitoes which caused infectious diseases such as yellow fever and malaria. The United States fumigated and drained all the swamps, eliminating each of these illnesses. In 1900, the Cuban government wrote a constitution for an independent Cuba. This is very similar to a current event, the war in Iraq. The United States wanted to set up a system that would allow for self-government. In 1903, the United States responded with provisions added to the Constitution. It stated, "You cannot make treaties that might limit its independence. The United States has the right to intervene. Government cannot go into debt. The United States can purchase and lease land for military purposes," and Cuba became a protectorate of the United States. It's important to note that the main reason for United States intervention was to protect American business interests. American imperialism is extremely economically driven, which brings us to our next territory, the Philippines. When the Filipinos found out about the Treaty of Paris, which we know ended the Spanish-American War, they reacted with outrage. In February of 1899, the Filipinos staged a rebellion against the United States, who had taken on the same role as Spain. The rebellion lasted for about 3 years, with the United States eventually winning and establishing a government. Unlike Puerto Rico, the United States told the Philippines that there would need to be 6 months of no fighting until they allowed themselves to govern themselves. It was not until July of 1946 that this was accomplished. United States imperialists saw the Philippines as a gateway to the rest of Asia. President McKinley said, "The Philippines are ours forever, and just beyond the Philippines are China's ultimate markets." He also said that China is our natural customer. China was viewed as a very valuable open market, but the United States feared that China would be carved into colonies by European and Asian countries, and American traders would be shut out. In 1899, John Hayes, the United States Secretary of State, responded by creating an open door policy. The open door notes proposed that those nations share their trading rights with America, thus creating an open door. Reiterating what we learned from last section, part of American imperialism was not just economic reasons, but also to spread Christianity. China had experienced foreign imposition concerning Christianity before, but besides what was called the Opium Wars, China had remained free from foreign rule for a long, long time. When other imperialist powers accepted John Hayes' open door policy, China responded by forming a Boxer Rebellion. The Boxers were China's way of showing their opposition toward foreign powers. As you can see, America only sent 2,500 soldiers, and comparatively, this is a small number, but there was a fine line that we didn't want to cross. We didn't want to go to war, but we did need to protect our economic investments and open the door for trade. The open door policy reflected these 3 beliefs of American capitalism: that the growth of the American economy depended on exports, the United States had a right to intervene abroad and keep foreign markets open, And closing an area to American products, citizens, or ideas threatened the United States' survival. All right. In conclusion, the impact of the United States territorial gains. A. President McKinley was reelected, largely in part to his imperialistic tendencies, and like any other American group, we have an anti-imperialist league that was also formed by Grover Cleveland, Andrew Carnegie, and Jane Addams. They stated that an increase in wages at home would solve the problem of surplus by creating more purchasing power inside the country. And C, future presidents such as Woodrow Wilson and Theodore Roosevelt continue to exert United States power around the world. Right, by this point in time, again, America had established itself as a global power. We had military strength, we had created new economic markets, and we were continuing to spread our Anglo-Saxon belief.